The Lord be with you, and a warm welcome to you as always from all of us here in Paris Court with Kilbride. Well, I'm blinking because I'm back again on our lovely bench in a garden that's filled with birds in the sunshine. We have to thank God for small mercies, and it's actually positively warm sitting here today. So let's just say onwards and upwards. The trees are filled with budding branches, and there's a distinct feeling of spring being in the air. You're welcome to join me for the next 10 or 15 minutes in this square as we take a little piece of scripture and we expand upon it and see how it can be speaking into our lives today. But first, and as always, we pause for a moment in prayer. "6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and his brother John and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became dazzling white. Suddenly there appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking with him. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, I will make 3 dwellings, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." While he was still speaking, suddenly a bright cloud overshadowed them, and from the cloud a voice said, "This is my Son, the Beloved. With him I am well pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard this, they fell to the ground and were overcome by fear. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, "Get up and do not be afraid." And when they looked up, they saw no one except Jesus himself alone. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus ordered them, "Tell no one about the vision until after the Son of Man has been raised from the dead." Three things come to mind when it comes to this scripture today, and I thought I might make a point of them in this little square and see how they might speak to you today. The first thing is that Jesus draws the three disciples apart and up a mountainside with him. Following the Christ can often bring us out of our comfort zones and into the sharper and more difficult inclines within our human experience. But sometimes worth considering is the fact that from a broader perspective, from higher ground, we have an opportunity to look at a particular situation that we might be undergoing and see God in it, to see his perspective in it as well, and from this we might learn. The second thing worth noting today is the understanding of our own human nature. Peter responds to this revelation of the Christ by wanting to trap that moment. He wants to build dwellings so that they can stay in that moment. It's so terrifyingly amazing that he wants to hold onto it. In our relationship with God, if we have been touched by God in different circumstances of our lives, or even in just one circumstance that we'll never forget, if we have felt the palpable presence of the Christ, or if we have seen more than just a vague glimpse of him, we want to hold on to that. I had an experience of the Christ as a teenager where I was absolutely encased in his presence out in nature, and for the rest of my life I'll want to have that experience again with him. It gives us a hunger for more. But Jesus is very quick to bring the disciples down the mountain again. The third observation is this: the magnificence of the revelation of Christ is something that shouldn't be just trapped in the moment, but brought forward. It was a message that needed to be taken forward. Initially, he told them to be silent. He told them to hold it patiently within their hearts until it could be revealed at the time that was appropriate. So perhaps sometimes when we glimpse God in our lives, or at the times when we get a very definite experience of God in our lives, what he's really saying to us is, know that I am here. Remember this moment. Fix it in your heart And then take that light of a memory of that moment, that experience, into your life and keep in touch with me, and I will reveal to you the sequences or the circumstances into which that knowledge and that experience needs to shine.